Hi friends, welcome back. This is Teaching in Room 9, our region's largest classroom. My name is Julia and I'm one of the second grade teachers at the Soulard School. Here for Teaching in Room 9 though, I focus all my lessons on math for second graders, but everyone's always encouraged to join. Welcome back friends. I hope that you're having a great start to your week and a really good day today, and I cannot wait for us to do some more learning here together. All right, you guys know I always start my lessons with our mindful minute exercise. We always practice these exercises just so we feel really comfortable with using these different tools for us to help self-regulate, which is a big word. All it means is that sometimes it's kind of tricky to calm ourselves down once we get a little bit worked up or emotional or angry in one way or another. So anytime that you're feeling those really big emotions, you're welcome to pull any of these tools from our mindful minute exercise out of your toolbox and use it to help you recenter your body. So we also want to practice being really present in the moment. We do that by slowing our body down, taking some mindful breaths together, and slowing down so that we can be really present in the moment and be very aware of our five senses. So since we are learning about place value this week, I thought that we could do some place value yoga here together as we're doing some mindful breathing. We built our base 10, hundreds, tens, and ones together the other day. So today we're going to actually build an H, a T, and an O with our body to stand for that HTO or that hundreds, tens, and ones chart. All right, but first we're gonna take some deep breaths together. So if you are standing, I want you to stand nice and straight and tall, your shoulders back. This way it opens up our chest so we can get those really deep breaths in. If you're sitting, same thing, I'd like you to sit nice and straight and tall. Try to loosen those shoulders, loosen your neck, relax your body, and take a deep breath in through your nose. And breathe out. Breathe in through your nose. And out through your mouth. In through your nose. And breathe out through your mouth. Now, as you take a deep breath in, you're going to widen your stance and make an H with your body. Breathe in and breathe out. We are standing firm on the ground. Our legs are about shoulder width apart. We're making an H with our arms. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. Nice job. Now my feet are back together. They are firmly planted in the ground, just like when we did tree pose and made our tens, but this time we made a T for our tens place. Okay, take a deep breath in through your nose. Reach your arms high above your head in a circle. Now we made that O for ones, and then slowly bring your arms down. Nice job, friends. You did amazing making that HTO chart with your body as we took those mindful breaths together. Hope that you're feeling really centered, ready to learn, and good to go for our lesson here today. So we always start with our learning goal or objective for the week that helps us to know in our brains, what am I going to be able to know, or what can I do when we are done learning here together? So our lessons this week have the I can statement of, I can recognize numbers without counting. I told you there's a big fancy word for this, for what this means. Do you guys remember what it is? Yeah, I heard a friend say subitizing. I say, you say subitizing. Nice job. I love that word. I think it's a really silly word, and I love how it feels as I say it. But subitizing just means that you can recognize numbers without having to count them. So you can see a group of objects together and know how many are there without having to count. And we kind of practice that when we work on decomposing 10, and you can kind of look at the colors of the counters to be able to tell how many are there. And then we're also kind of doing that in this number sense of understanding place value of 3-digit numbers. And I have that number sign there as a pound sign for, or as a symbol for the word numbers. There's tons of different examples of symbols in math. All right, friends. So when we are all through learning together this week, you are going to be able to practice and feel really confident in subitizing, recognizing numbers without having to count, and hopefully you'll feel much more comfortable with breaking down, decomposing, and understanding 3-digit numbers. Okay, I'm gonna swing my friends around this way over to this chart here. So you guys can see my place value vocabulary chart. We've talked a lot about how important it is for us to be able to understand different math vocabulary terms. I know it can be kind of tricky. There's lots of terms, lots of symbols, shapes, equations, different solving strategies. There's so much out there that sometimes it can feel a little overwhelming. But if we can at least start small in understanding the vocabulary words based on the content that we're working on, then it helps us to at least understand and feel more confident in knowing what it is that the question is asking us to find. So, place value vocabulary. You can see it's broken into 3 quadrants here, or 3 little sections, and it is hundreds, tens, and ones. You can see the hundreds is written out in word form. Then you see the number 100 in standard form, and you see that visual, that picture there of the hundreds base 10 block. That way it helps us in our brain to understand that this position here is the hundreds place. Then we look at our tens written in word form, in standard number form, and then you have the visual of a base 10 block for tens, which is again 10 ones together. And this is 100 is 10 tens together, or 100 ones. And then you can see here, it says ones in word form, the number 1 in standard form, and then our little base 10 block for a 1 right here. All right, and you can see here too, the number that we have on our chart is 452. So the 4 is in the hundreds place, the 5 is in the tens place, and the 2 is in the ones place. Now let's look at the pink part over here. It says digit. I say, you say digit. Nice job. A digit is a symbol that represents a whole number. And I had mentioned how important that word represents is. Represents means that it stands for something else. So this digit in the tens place stands for the value, which is different. That's how much it is worth. So let's look over here. I say, you say value. Nice, friends. Value is the amount that each digit is worth. So if we have a 4 in the hundreds place, what is its value? How much is 4 in the hundreds place worth? Nice, friends. You guys are so smart. If a 4 is in the hundreds place, that means there are 4 hundreds. So 100, 200, 300, 400. All right, so again, our digit is the number, but the value is how much that is worth. So look over here at this place value. It says place value is the value of a digit based on its place in the number. That's where we get place value. The value of that digit is based on its place, or where it is in the number. So if I were to jumble these numbers up and say it was 254, that's a very different value than 452. So based on where that digit is in that number gives us a very different amount or value that it is worth. So that's what it says down here. We see the arrow that says apply. The digit or the symbol in the tens place is a 5, but it's not worth 5. The value of the tens place, so we have 5 tens, would be 5 different tens, and each one is worth 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So if you can see down here, that's why it says 50 right there. All right, friends, I'm gonna swing you guys back around this way so that you can see my charts here. Just this guy, there we go. All right, so we're going to practice singing that song again as we practice decomposing 10. Then we will build 100 just like we did yesterday, because I think it's a really great practice for us to see the process of how we make 100 and all the different pieces that go in it together. So we'll do that, and then we're gonna practice on this chart here, breaking down a new 3-digit number here together today. All right, so we're gonna sing our song again. It's to the tune of Frere Jacques, and I'm gonna point to both sections. So we've got the all red up top and the all yellow down here as I sing. Are you guys ready? All right. 10 and 0, 9 and 1, 8 and 2, 8 and 2, 7 and 3, 6 and 4, 5 and 5, 5 and 5. Nice job, friends. And you can see the equations written out right down here as well. But just for our brains and really good practice, we're gonna sing our song again. But I'm gonna do it on the snap cubes for you guys so you can see again the different ways that we can decompose or break apart the number 10. Are you guys ready to sing it again? Okay, we're gonna slow it down a little bit too since we're working with our snap cubes. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 here. All right. 10 and 0, 9 and 1, 8 and 2, 8 and 2, 7 and 3, 6 and 4, 5 and 5, 5 and 5. Nice job, friends. So that way then you can see how we break apart our 10 so many different ways. And again, it's really important for us to practice this so that we get really good with our fact fluency. And that's just how comfortable we are at being able to sort of rattle off all the different ways that we can make 10. And really getting comfortable with our fact fluency and decomposing 2-digit, 3-digit numbers, understanding place value really helps us build that solid foundation that we need for when math starts to become more challenging each year. And we add in multiplication and division, all sorts of different math skills. All right, are you guys ready to build 100? Okay, so we have, again, we've got our jars here. A jar represents a 10, just like my 10 snap cubes or my 10s base 10 block. Okay, so let's count our counters here together. So I've got my counters right here. Okay, ready to count with me? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so we have 10 counters in one jar. So I have one jar. And what is that 110 worth? You got it. It's worth 10. 110, but there are 10 counters inside. What if I add another jar? How many jars do I have now? Point this down so you can see a little better. Perfect. How many jars? You got it. There's 2 jars. But how many are 2 jars worth if I have 10 counters in each jar? You got it, friends. 20. 2 10s is worth 21s. Now, what if I add another one? How many jars do I have? There we go. You're right, I've got 3 jars. But what is the value of 3 jars or 3 10s? Nailed it, friends. It is 30. 3 10s is the same as 30 ones. But now I added another. How many jars do I have now? Yep, I have 4 jars, which is worth 4, or which is like 4 10s, but how much is it worth? What is its value? 4 10s or 4 jars? How many ones or counters do I have? You got it, 40. And now I'm gonna add another one. How many jars? You got it, 5 jars, but what is the value or how many counters are there altogether? Nice job, friends. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Let's add another. Okay, how many do I have now? Yeah, let's count them together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So basically it's like 6 10s. And how many ones are in 6 10s? What is the value of a 6 in the 10s place? You got it, friends, 60. Now I'm gonna add another. How many jars? Yeah, 7. What's it worth? How many counters do I have altogether? You got it, 70. All right, let's add, this time we're gonna add 2 more. You ready? And now that I see so many here, I'm gonna get my handy dandy pencil pointer. Let's point to each of them and count them here together. All right, there we go, so we can see a little bit better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there is one more here. I'll bring it on this side so you can see better. 9. So I have 9 jars, which is the same as 9 10s. So how many do I have altogether? How many counters altogether? Or ones, if I had a 9 in the 10s place? You got it, friends. I would have 90. Now it's time to add the last one. How many jars do I have altogether? You got it. There are 10 jars altogether. So let's skip count by 10s. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Now, whenever we have 10 ones or counters altogether, I'm able to group them into one 10, into one jar. So the same thing happens for when you have 10 10s. Once I have 10 10s, we group them all together. So I'm gonna do exactly that right now. Oops, I dropped a few. All right, got my extra one there. Now I have all of my counters in one 100s block. So I have one 100, which is the same as our hundreds base 10 block. There are 10 10s, and how many little counters or ones do I have all together? You got it, friends, 100. I'm gonna teach you a little song for us to be able to practice that together. Are you guys ready? All right, this way it just makes us feel really super confident in our making a 10 or making a 100 skill, okay? And this is to the tune of Twinkle Twinkle or the ABCs. Okay, it goes just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 ones makes 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 10 tens makes 100. If we want to know the value of the tens, then we skip count. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 ones. 100 ones is the same value as 10 tens. Let's do it again. Yay, nice job, friends. So I like to just kind of sing that song that goes along with the same process that we did with our jars and our counters. It was the same process we did as the other day when we used the jars and toothpicks. We're going to use a different manipulative tomorrow to practice that same skill. Now that we're getting so amazing and so fluent, we're going to practice really decomposing or breaking down another 3-digit number together today so that we get really familiar with that and feel really comfortable with the process. So, are you guys ready for our number? It is, 252. And when we're using regular old numbers, that is standard form. So I have it written at the bottom there, standard form. Now I'm going to jump up to my place value chart up here. And you can see it's broken down into HTO or hundreds, tens, and ones. So if I'm looking at the number 252, what number is in the hundreds? Amazing, a 2. What number's in the just gave it away. What number or digit is in the tens place? You got it, a 5. I bet you would have got it even if I didn't give it away. Now, what digit or number is in the ones place? Amazing, a 2. So 252, we have 2 in the hundreds, 5 in the tens, and 2 in the ones place. Now, the model form, that's using our base 10 blocks. So I'm going to start on this side. How many hundreds do I have? You got it, friends. 2 hundreds. So I would have 2 base 10 blocks of hundreds. Now, how many tens do I have? Amazing. 5. So I've got 5 tens right here. Then how many ones? You got it. Just 2 little ones. Again, friends, I've said it before. We'll say it again. The ones place is the only place where the digit and the value are going to be the same. The hundreds, the tens, the thousands, and as you get bigger and bigger numbers, the only digit that is going to be the same as the value is the hundreds place. An expanded form. I like this one because it really shows us the value. So 2 hundreds is worth how much? What's its value? You guys are amazing. 200. Now what about 5 tens? What's the value of 5 tens? And remember our song, you can skip count to find out. Nailed it. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Nice. And again now, if I've got 2 in the ones place, what's my value? You got it. Just plain old 2. So 200 plus 50 plus 2 would be the expanded form. If we're adding all of those together, that would give us our total of 252. And again, the ones place is the only place where the digit and the value are going to be the same. And word form, we get to write it out. So I wrote, you can see it nice here, 252. All right, now we're gonna look over here. You can see I already labeled T for tens and O for ones. So we already know if we were breaking it down into the place value of hundreds, tens, and ones, we would have 2 hundreds, 5 tens, and 2 ones. All right, now, what if I wanted to only look at the tens? So we know that each 100 has how many tens? You're right. Each 100 has 10 tens in it already. So if I have 10 tens here and 10 tens here, what's 10 plus 10? Amazing. It's 20 plus I've got already another 5 tens here. So what's 20 plus 5? Amazing. 25. So I have, in 252, I've got 25 tens. Now how many ones? You got it, friends. 2. So this is one way we could break it down by hundreds, tens, and ones. Or I could break it down by just looking at the tens. We've got 10 here, and another 10 is 20. Then that extra 5. So 25 tens, and then those 2 ones. Now, what if I only wanted ones? How many ones are in 100? You got it. There's 100 in 100. But I've got 2 in this problem here, or this number here. So I've got 200. This is worth 50, and this is worth 2. So if I was just looking at the ones, how many ones do I have in 252? Nailed it. I'm going to try to write it really teeny tiny. 252 ones. That's another way we could look at it. All right, let's see. What about if I wanted to look at it in hundreds and ones? How many hundreds? Yep. 2 hundreds. Now, how many ones? I'm not looking at the tens. We already know there's how many tens, and that's worth how much? What's its value? You got it, 50. And then I have in my ones place 2. So 50 plus 2 is 52. That's another way I could look at our number. All right, thank you for all your hard work. I love all my friends at home. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Teaching in Room 9 is made possible with support of Bank of America, Dana Brown Charitable Trust, Emerson, and viewers like you.